What is up, ninjas? My name is Sam World, and today we're going to be talking about a bass line I get frequently asked about, and one that I haven't really made a video about because I feel like it's pretty simple. However, I did have a haircut with my barber a while back where he said, yo, Sen, just because it's simple for you doesn't mean it's simple for everyone. Now, the fact that it's simple is that it's easy to access, but the problem is a lot of people wouldn't think to access it unless they knew they could utilize a tom as a bass line. Now, the tom bass line is going to be super useful for people looking to make a little bit more of the mellowed out tech house, like dirty board style, tribal tech and whatnot. And if you're going for more of a percussive bass, the other pros of the tom bass line is the fact that you can play it at higher octaves and it sounds great compared to when you utilize a square saw bass. When you go up too high, it can sound a little too weak and also very kind of dull. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this inside of Ableton, of course. Now, here, guys, I have essentially a kick, which is going to be a kick 808 dud, which sounds like this. Now, when it comes to utilizing tom bass lines, I find that the best type of kick to utilize is going to be a very mellow kick, not an expensive kick. And when I say expensive, I mean a kick that hasn't been processed super heavily with like saturation or distortion, or shaped at least where it doesn't resemble a sine as much anymore. So in order to access these guys, we're going to go into the drum section and just look up 808. From there, we're going to utilize this low 808, but we're also going to utilize the kick. Now, you can pick the 808 dud kick, which is the one I have, but you can also go with the kick 808 tone and set it out like so. And as you can hear, it has a very mellow, very pleasing sound to it. And we can also go with this here, and we're just going to shape it with the Ableton fades. If you're in automation mode, you're not going to be able to do the fades. However, if you get out of there, you should be able to, and you can make that as long as you want. So I'm just going to go to the halfway mark and set up a beat with that kick for now. From there, it's very important to figure out the key of our kick, and usually I utilize Ableton Spectrum for this. We just go in, bring up the spectrum, and see where the fundamental frequency of the kick is. And you can see that it's in G. So if you wanted to put this kick in D or in F, then you could just transpose it down. So if you wanted to go down to F, you would go one down, that's F sharp, and then another one too, that's F. If you wanted to go to D, then you would keep on going from there. So now it's very important that this kick is in the key of your scale, just because when you utilize a tom, you're going to notice that when you don't hit that tom, it still sounds like it's hitting with the kick, giving you essentially more melody, more rhythm, as you're going to see. So what we're going to do here is just go to instrument and utilize the sampler. And in the sampler, we're going to load that bad boy up. Let's turn these off. I do have a sidechain here, and I do have another spectrum just to figure out the key of that tom we're going to be using. And now we're going to go into the 808 section here on the drums. Just search that up, and we're going to go for the tom and utilize the low one. Now, if you hear that, it sounds a little like, yo, Sen, how are we going to use that as a bass? Well, we're going to be playing it an octave lower, and that's going to give us some really good results. Now, first, we have to figure out what key this tom is in. So usually the way I do this is I'll play the C key. And you notice that when I play the C key, it states it's in G. So all I have to do is move my root key up to G, so that when I play a C, I'm hitting that. Now I can go play G. And I'm in key with it. Now, when programming a tom bass line, guys, it's similar to programming other bass lines, but there's a couple of buts. The first one is you're not going to be able to get those very catchy Fisher melodies with it, like dun, 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 dun. One, it's not sustained out, and two, it has sort of like this pitch down effect, pitch modulation happening to it, which creates the tom vibe, but you lose a lot of melodic features with it. However, what you get in return is a bass line that's going to allow you to essentially groove better. It's going to work better in more mellow tech house, more experimental, and it also gives a very cool warehouse underground vibe, sort of like just smoking a blunt with your homies, sipping on that lean with my motherfucking team. And everyone knows that damn vocal, man. Splice for the win. But anyways, guys, what we're gonna do is simple. The tom bass line is gonna allow you to do some really cool things. First thing is that you can use it as a bass, which is kind of like a sub, and it sounds pretty good with an extra added character to it. So for instance, let's say I go G and we go up to, or let's do like a reggaeton G and then do that. So when you do that with a sub, it doesn't have that vibe. It doesn't pitch down. So that's what you get in return. You can even put this up in octave, and you get that nice little vibe. And now you guys know what the tom bass line is all about, because now we can do a lot of cool stuff. Like I could go in and do like a double. I just wanna have some fun. with my homies. And then add some quirky sounds on top of it. So again, there's a lot to do with this, and you don't have to pitch up like that. You can keep it. Add a bit of swing. You know, that's the cool thing about the Tom Bassline. As you guys can see, it's very simple, but a lot of people don't know. They hear that sound, they're like, how can I make it in a synth? You can definitely make toms with Serum and Silent, but again, a lot of these sounds come from the original 808. A lot of people sample them and they do these kind of melodies. Now, utilizing different toms gives different effects. For instance, let's say we go with a different tom. I'll get rid of the 808 there and find a low one like that one. That one's a little bit more busy in that it has a lot more upper harmonics, more higher frequency. And then it doesn't last as long as you can see, so that's a big issue. So we would have to elongate it or something. Let's try a different one. These are a little bit more. So these ones you could definitely use. I've heard them used before, but they do take up a lot of space compared to the tom. It gives a lot of room for upper harmonic stuff, like, you know, little quirky lead to vocal. This one, it will be hard to place a vocal on top just because it's so busy, so you might have to EQ it. However, again, you guys have a lot of samples, a lot of toms from old sample packs that you can utilize. If you're trying to go for more of a bass that isn't so, yeah, for instance, I could try that. And we're going to put that in A. So super cool. Now, there's other things we can do as well with the toms. If you really want to get experimental, the other thing we could do is we can turn it into different stuff. For instance, inside of the sampler in Ableton, we have this FM section, which is super powerful. Now, don't fret. It's not overly complicated. As long as you understand that you're just adding FM frequency modulation to the sound. So the way we work that is we just add volume. Below that, we have our chorus, which is going to pitch this sine wave that's going into our sample without a permission, up or down. But you can do a lot of cool stuff. For instance, we can play this at a very low octave just to elongate the sample, because as you guys know in Ableton, if we play low, it slows down the sample, but it also pitches it super low. And it's lasting for a while there. So with this FM, you can do a lot of cool stuff like so. Really quirky effects. We can switch the wave going into it into a saw. And then you get really these weird kind of sounds that you hear. They sound a little sampled from like old school records, but it has a bit of character to it. Now we can also add a bit of glide here, and so that way we get more of, let's go maybe like a sec. Now, the other thing to do here, let's say that we get rid of the FM and we go back to the basic tom. Let's say that you want the tom to be more of a higher frequency, but you still want to maintain lows, then the kick should probably be elongated more like a big room kick so that it covers lows. And then for your tom, you can definitely go a little bit more ham on top. And then you can have your tom playing on top. But because that kick is going to provide all the low end that you need, because it's just taking up the whole damn bar, as you can see. Now, the last thing I will say, guys, is adding swing to these guys is also super cool because you are utilizing a sample. So you are going to have velocity changes that come with the swing. In essence, it will create a bit more of a groovier vibe. A lot of Serum presets and Silent don't have velocity measures to them, which, you know, could make the sound play louder or could switch the cutoff filter a bit. But at the end of the day, Tom Basslines, like you see, are very simple. It's just knowing what to use and knowing what you get from them in order to achieve it. With that being said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Simple as that. Sample a tom bass and you get a Tom Bassline or sample a tom. There's a lot of good tom samples out there in Cashmere's volume 1, 2, 3 packs and all other ones out there. So experiment with different ones, EQ them, maybe not as much highs on some of them to see if it will fit better with the vocal. And from there, just have a lot of fun. Anyways, you guys take care and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out and you guys have a great rest of your day.